This video is going to be a quick review. We've just finished Unit 2, which is finishing up all these basics. I'm going to do a review of Unit 1 and Unit 2 together. Okay, so we've talked about staff being the 5 lines and 4 spaces upon which music is written. The bass clef being the symbol at the beginning of the line. It tells you it's going to be lower sounding pitches. Treble clef is at the beginning of the song and tells you it's going to be higher pitches. And the ledger lines are small lines placed above and below the staff to extend range. Now remember, as you go up on the staff, the musical alphabet goes forwards. As you go down on the staff, it goes backwards. And remember, that continues into the ledger line. So you say your alphabet forwards as you go up, and if you're going down on your ledger lines, you're going to say your alphabet backwards, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay? All right, another way that you can help yourself learn your note names is your little reminders. If you're treble clef, most people think face, F-A-C-E, and treble clef lines are E, G, B, D, F. Either Every Good Boy Does Fine, Elvis's Guitar Broke Down Friday, Every Good Burger Deserves Fries. Bass clef, A-C-E-G, All Cows Eat Grass, or All Cars Eat Gas. And then for bass clef, GBDFA, I like Ground Balls Don't Fly Away. You can also do Good Boys Do Fine Always, whatever helps you remember the lines and spaces. But ultimately, you also just need to remember that as you're going up the musical alphabet, going up this way on the staff, your notes, you're going to be saying your alphabet forwards, down, you're going to be saying it backwards with your musical alphabet. Okay, we've also talked about bar lines being vertical lines that divide music into measures, and measures being the space between the 2 bar lines. A double bar is a symbol used to separate 2 sections of music, and a final bar is a symbol used to indicate the end of a piece of music. A repeat sign indicates a section of music should be repeated. Now, if this is the only repeat sign, then you're going to go back to the beginning. Sometimes there's another repeat sign right here that would bounce it back if you have a song, and that would be an internal repeat, and you would just repeat those measures within the repeat signs. Okay, we've talked about our rhythms. We have a whole note that gets 4 beats, a half note, 2 beats, a quarter note, 1 beat. Okay, also the corresponding rest, so you have the whole rest, it looks like a hole in the ground, a half rest, it looks like a hat, and a quarter rest that looks like a Z on top of a C. Those, of course, would be 4 beats, 2 beats, and 1 beat, just like their note. Okay, we've also talked about an eighth note. There are 2 different ways to write your eighth notes. So you have a flag, which is a line extending from the top of a stem, a wavy line that comes off the stem of a note, or you have a beam, a straight line that connects 2 notes. So I think of this like a balance beam and this like a flag waving in the wind. Either way, it's going to divide the note's value in half. That's why an eighth note is worth half of the value of a quarter note. If you have 1 single eighth note, it's going to be worth half a beat. If you have 2 eighth notes beamed together, they're each worth half a beat. So together, that's going to be worth 1 beat. Okay, we've also talked about what a dot does. If you have a dot that follows a note, the dot rule says that a dot adds half the value of the note to the note, or a dot increases the note's value by half. Okay, so a plain half note would get 2 beats. When you add the dot, you add an additional beat, half of 2, so it's a total of 3 beats. If you have a dotted quarter note, the quarter note is worth 1. The dot is worth half of 1, so 1/2. So a dotted quarter note is worth 1.5 beats. Okay, we've also talked about time signature. So the most common time signatures you're going to see right now are 4/4, 3/4, and some 2/4. So let's do some examples of that. So 4/4 time means there are 4 beats in a measure, and a quarter note gets 1 beat. So I'm going to put in here 2 eighth notes and a dotted half note. That would be an example of a measure of 4/4 time, because you have 4 beats total, 3 here and 1 here. Or you could do a quarter note, if you want to get fancy, a dotted quarter note with an eighth note, and then a quarter rest, okay? That would also be 4 beats. You have 1 beat, 1 beat, 1.5 plus a half, total of 2, so that's 4 beats. So those would be examples of 4/4 time. 3/4 time, an example would be a half note and a quarter note. So that gives you 3 beats, so there's a measure of 3/4 time, not 4/4, 3/4 time, okay? So the top number tells you how many beats are in a measure. The bottom number tells you what kind of note gets a beat. Okay, we've also talked about a tie and a slur. So a tie is a curved, well, they're both curved lines. A tie connects notes, 2 or more notes of the same pitch, and a slur connects 2 or more notes of different pitches, okay? So let's look at this line down here. We did this before, but just as a quick review, if you circle the tie, a tie is when the note stays the same. A slur is when the note changes, so I guess I shouldn't circle it. So when the note changes, we put X's on them, okay? So slur. So a tie is when it stays the same, okay? We also talked about, when we were talking about articulation, that you tongue notes that are not under a slur. You automatically tongue. The only time you don't tongue is when there is a slur over the note. Okay? We also talked about subdivision, which talks about how many pulses are within a note. And I'm not going to go into detail on that, but just as a reminder, it would be like for a half note, if you were going to do the subdivision, you would need 2 quarter notes inside that half note. Or if you were looking at the subdivision, the 8th note pulse within a quarter note, 2 8th notes would equal 1 quarter note. Okay, so when we say subdivision, that means if you divide the bigger note into smaller parts. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about subdivision. So that's just a quick review of these things, as well as all of the different concepts that we learned in Unit 1.